is so far left of the normal scientific community, and yet you made such a big splash. You talk the talk. You owe it to the world to walk the walk.
Now, many people are skeptical about the Raelian movement and its claims that its company, Clonaid, has successfully cloned a human, a baby girl they call Eve. While there has been no evidence to support their claims, many, including our next guests, believe Clonaid has the ability to give them what they need. Jamie has been corresponding with Clonaid over the internet because she wants to have her late daughter, Carrie, cloned. She's very excited because she's about to meet Thomas, Clonaid's vice-president, for the very first time. Now, Jamie's here with her daughter, Christina. Would you please welcome them to the show? Nice to meet you. Please sit down here. First, thank you both for coming, and I'm so sorry about the loss of your daughter. I know exactly what that feels like. We're not supposed to bury our children.
That's right.
And I know it was a very difficult thing, and it was just about a year ago, wasn't it?
February the 18th will be a year. It'll
be a year. The tough year, the first year is always the worst, I say. The holidays and all those things. And she left 3 beautiful children.
Yes, she
did. So I've got to ask you, why do you want to clone your daughter?
Carrie might not have been exceptional to most of you. You never knew her. But to all of her friends and everyone, she was.
Mm-hmm.
And especially to me. There is such an empty when you lose a child you can't recover from.
Mm-hmm.
And to have a twin of her would fill that. It would take a lot to replace in my heart. It's just like every day. Do I go on another day without her? And I know you know how that feels.
I know exactly how it feels. I was fortunate enough to have 3 children after Adam. And after Adam was murdered, we were fortunate enough to have a daughter instead of a son, because lots of times for parents of murdered or children of suicide or however they die, they mistakenly believe that the next child is a replacement. I never believed that, and God graced us with a daughter. And I don't believe that we can replace Adam. I believe that he's a spirit or he's an angel somewhere, but that's my opinion.
Well, John, I'm not trying to replace my Carrie that's in the ground.
Right.
I just want a twin of her. I can see her face. I can try to raise her again as a different one. She'll be a total different. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see that smile again. She'll look the same. She'll most likely act the same. I can see that beautiful smile again. I can hold her and I can touch her. There is no greater love than a mother. There is just not any. I don't think I can go on another day.
You can. You will. I'll tell you that. I've been there. I know. You will.
It gets harder to me.
Well, but you've got those grandchildren, and you've got a daughter right here, and I've got to ask your daughter, how do you feel about your mother's, desire to clone your sister, and what do you think about this?
I think it's absolutely wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I want her back too. I know it's not going to be her.
Mm-hmm.
Her.
But you say you want her back too, but it's not going to be her. It sounds like a contradiction.
It's going to be different because she's going to be raised differently.
But, Kyle, Carrie's son, is the one who planted this idea in your mind, didn't he? Because he saw it on TV. Now, I talked to Kyle earlier, this loving, beautiful little boy. I mean, I was so impressed by how hard his life has been, how tough his life has been, and I don't want to go into certain aspects of it, but he is one wonderful little soul.
I'm very proud of him.
Yes, and I just want you to see what Kyle and I talked about. Kyle, tell me a little bit about your mom.
My mom, she had a hard life.
She passed away. Now, you're watching TV one day, and you see this thing about these cloning, about these people, these Raelians, and that they're trying to clone human beings, right? And what did you do?
I went to my grandma's and I told her I found a way how to clone my mom and I want to know if it could be done.
If they cloned your mom, what would happen?
My grandma would try to take care of her, and then when I get older, it's going to go to me, and I have to take care of her.
A lot of people say it's impossible.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It could be done.
Now, this is a beautiful little boy and a loving little boy. And two questions I've got to ask you. What if it can't be done? Are you setting this little boy up for big disappointment here?
No, this little boy's the one that called me.
Mm-hmm.
He said, Grandma, we got to try.
And you've been talking to Clonaid, and I know you've been talking to Thomas, and you'll see him after the show, and you'll talk to him. What would something like this cost? How would they do it? And where would you get the DNA from your daughter?
I already have the DNA from my daughter. She was autopsied.
What would this cost to do this when you talk to Clonaid?
They've never quoted me a price, never asked me anything like that.
Thomas, what would it cost for someone to clone a loved one or themselves?
Yeah. Today we expect the cost to be between $100,000 and $200,000, but that's always depending on the case. And just to come back to what Jamie said before, you know, of course we won't be able to bring her back the same child. Everybody knows this. It's going to grow up with a different environment, in a different place, with a different education. But it's as close as you can get today with the technology today available. It's going to be an identical twin, deferred in time, technically speaking. But it's for her, emotionally, we understand it's as close as she can get. If you talk about human cloning, think of the people you're talking about. It's very easy to say cloning is dangerous or unethical if you're in a concern yourself. But if you're yourself in that position to have lost somebody or suffer from infertility or the other things I talked about before that could be helped thanks to therapeutic cloning, put yourself in the position of those people and how would you react? That's the question. We always say, if you don't want to have access to the technology, that's fine. Nobody's going to impose anything on you.
Right.
But for those people, let those people with a sincere interest in this technology, let them have access to it.
It's a legitimate claim. Now, we've got lots more questions and other people here that don't think it's the right thing to do. So we're going to talk to them when we come back, and a former Raelian who thinks that this is a hoax. And we'll also hear why some say cloning is ethically and morally unacceptable. A lot more in this debate. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Our children are gifts to be loved and protected, not products to be designed and manufactured. Allowing cloning would be taking a significant step toward a society in which human beings are grown for spare body parts and children are engineered to custom specifications. And that's not acceptable.
Now, on December 27th, 2002, the CEO of a company called Clonaid announced that a human clone had been born. We still don't know if that's true, but we do know that it has stirred up so much debate and a lot of opposition. Daniel McConchie is with the Center for Bioethics and Human Dignity. Daniel, thanks for being here.
Certainly.
Debate isn't the word for it. I mean, this is a worldwide controversy. Do you believe that this happened, that this baby exists?
I personally don't think that. The situation that has been outlined for us here is given to where we have now a company who claims that they have done this, but have offered no proof whatsoever, have not have any historical track record indicating that they've been able to do this in the past, and still are to this date just basically want us to believe them and say, well, we've done it, you know, we're not going to show you the proof, but you know, you should just believe
Now, whether
us.
they have or not, let's you know, I'll be the devil's advocate. Let's say baby Eve exists. Is it morally ethical? You know, is it legally ethical? What are your feelings about all that?
Well, currently in the United States, it's not illegal, though the FDA has attempted to establish some jurisdiction over that. That's very tenuous jurisdiction. We'll have to see how that plays out. Concerning moral and ethical issues, I don't believe that's an ethical thing. I believe that the situation in which cloning is usually put forward usually is a case where people want to use the child for some other purpose other than the child themselves.
Well, now, here's a couple. I read some articles questions were posed by other scientists in other parts of the world. If because of the not such a great experience with the cloned sheep, if the children have birth defects, is this a form of child abuse? Is that a legitimate question or not?
Well, I think it is. We have, in all of our animal testing to date, there is not a single normal clone. All of them have some sort of genetic defect or problem of some sort, just where imprinting.
Well, what do you say to people who say, I don't care if my child is not perfect, that even if it's a Down syndrome baby? I mean, here's a mom, I think, that would like to have some kind of contact with a clone of her deceased daughter, even if it was a handicapped child.
Then the purpose of the establishment of the clone is not for the child themselves. The clone is being created for somebody else's purposes. And,
well, when you created a baby for yourself, you created it for yourself too.
Well,
That's the way I look at it.
I'm sorry, but my initial question to people generally is, would you like to be a clone yourself? And I haven't met anyone yet who wants to be a clone. And I think if nobody really wants to be a clone, then we should ask the question as to why are we, pursuing cloning? Is that something that if nobody really wants to be one, then shouldn't it be something that we don't allow?
Now, here in the United States, we have tons of kids in orphanages and foster homes and in the system, and I've met many of them. Homes are full of abused and molested children. Why not adopt those children? Why not take the responsibility of those children rather than create new children? What is that?
Because everyone wants their own genetic makeup.
I'm sorry, but I find that to be egotistical.
I'm going to take a quick question.
I'm afraid my question really related to what you were saying about adopting. Ma'am, Jamie, if you have so much love to give, and I'm very sorry for your loss. I'm only 22 and I've never experienced a loss like that, and I sympathize most deeply. If you have so much love to give, why not take one of these children who are hurting and don't have parents? I mean, this will not be your daughter because she won't be that age. She won't be the mother of your grandson, who's a beautiful boy. Why not just adopt?
Well, I can answer that for you. Because nobody can take the place of my Carrie. She's my biological makeup, and I don't care. I don't see where the government tells me the right. I can't help back what is mine. God gave me that DNA, and he gave it to her, and all I'm doing is having a twin of her. What is wrong with that? I don't understand this.
We're going to continue with this debate, and when we come back, a man who spent 17 years of his life as a devoted Raelian will tell us why he believes the whole religion and its leader is a sham. Stay with us. The debate continues. We'll be right back. Do you believe this is a religion or a cult?
It's more a cult.
You do?
Yeah, and I strongly believe that Rael, he's egomaniac. He wants to be known all over the world, and he's using the cloning technology to get his goal.